Hey everybody, it's Rara, and welcome back to some more Satisfactory. In the last one, we started our total rebuild of the whole shebang, our whole base. And starting off with our iron ingots, and look at all those fun refineries. They're big and menacing. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, we hooked up all the water stuff, and I spent 5 minutes straightening those water extractors over there. If I could just, oh god. Imagine being in a 3D environment couldn't be me. Yeah, this took forever to set up properly, but we got it to work the way we wanted. We pumped it up, and then we got all the ingots, like all 800 plus of them. And it looks nice, and it is good, and I was happy with it. And also, we rebuilt the second floor to be quite a bit bigger, a bit longer, a bit wider, if you will. And now it can encompass the refinery, so that's cool. But before we get into today's content, I just want to say that another patch has dropped, another micro patch has dropped. They just keep releasing them. There's probably going to be another one in a couple of days, the way they're going at it right now. And it's, it's more nothing, very small, localization updates for languages and bug fixes and stuff. But, I noticed this. This was not mentioned in the patch notes. Why is flower petals their own thing now? Has this always been a thing? I grabbed some of my flower petals out of the little storage box there to mess around with this, but let's get started on the flower petal tree. It only has 3 little tiers. I don't remember this at all. And if this was here before, why didn't I notice it? Oh, this helps you unlock the color gun? Did we not have access to this before? Am I high? I thought they did away with the color gun and just made it so that you could just color stuff for free. Because, the color gun was an item that they removed because you could just press X now and then just make any color, anything you want like that without using any petals, without using any materials. So why then is this back as it is? I don't know. I'm going to unlock it just in case. 5 minutes? That's weird. That's weird, because they reworked the MAM to make so that all the researches only take 3 minutes, unless we're counting the hard drives, which take 10 minutes. But, yeah, it used to be the case where some of them would take, upwards of 5, 7, 2 or 3 minutes, like this. Did they accidentally re-add this into the tree? Not meaning to, and it's just a bug? Hold on, I need to peruse the Satisfactory subreddit. Something's going awfully awry here. Oh, the research finished. Wow, I unlocked the color gun. Yay, thank you. Thank you, game. Oh, we finished the flower petal tree. And now we make color cartridges which aren't in the game anymore with the color gun that also does not exist anymore. Yeah, basically the color gun was the regular tool, but it just became a part of this, this one catch-all tool that we use for, building and creating, the fix-it factory, gun, assembler, dismantler, it does everything. Like I said, it's a catch-all. If I want to build this, I whip it out. If I want to delete stuff, I whip it out. And there was a separate gun specifically for adding color to stuff, and you used to have to grind flower petals and then turn them into color cartridges so you could paint things. It was kind of annoying. But then they were like, oh no, you could just do this, and then they made it part of the gun and it's free and they don't really need flower petals for that much shit anymore. And honestly, I haven't really used them since. So I don't know how that went through, but all I do know is that I have been perusing the subreddit for 10 minutes now, and I can't seem to find anything, at least on the official subreddit, but there's 2 of them. There's the one for Coffee Stain Studios, Satisfactory, the game, which is the official one, right? But then there's also just Satisfactory too, which is its own thing, which is the fan community subreddit. Yeah, doing searches for flower petals, and color gun in both subreddits seems to yield no results. Or, nothing recent, at least. At first I thought, oh, is this did they re-add the flower petals tree to give them, more of a use now? And this is just nuts, little surprise. Because sometimes he won't mention it, but they're a cheeky little thing will make it into the game. That just isn't in the patch notes anywhere. And you gotta, discover it as a community ourselves. I don't think this is one of those cases. I think that my game is just bugged. And they accidentally added it in, and I wasted those materials right there that you see on the screen, as well as a few of my flower petals. I don't care. I mean, we have so many of these, it doesn't really matter. But still, I don't really know the true nature of that. But what I do know is that I want to move the hub since it's not so claustrophobic feeling over here. See, I'm already getting stuck on stuff. So let's delete this and then... Oh, no. Careful. I am going to make another storage bin over here. Just plop it down right there. Right next to that one. I'm going to make a temporary storage bin for my items in my inventory. And then we slowly, methodically, we take these. We put it in here. Store all. We get my items back. Delete that. And then we can now safely delete the hub. Oh wait, it also has the extra biofuel in this generator here. That's fine. Okay, cool. Super dope. And I guess in the meantime, we can also remove the workshop and the MAM, since we're just gonna... It's just like the one collective of buildings. And for now, I mean, I guess we can just kind of like push it back here. Or maybe, no, let's make like a dedicated space for that over here, like on the first floor. If we're gonna use this area as like a path to just to walk and to get to places anyways, yeah, we could totally just set up like a little thing right over here. So we got the hub right about there. Cool. Yeah, this will work for now. Then we need ourselves a good old man machine somewhere around the hub. I'm thinking right there. That's good. And then the doctor also ordered one equipment workshop, and we'll have this be on the opposite side. You know, trying not to get in the way of anything. Keeping it all compact and close together, while still being easily accessible and not too much of, you know, like an eyesore. Yeah, that fills up some of the space over there quite nicely. And now we can go and get those items, yoink, and put them in the thing. Oh shit. I forgot that I had taken back all of my items already. I was a bit preemptive with that. Well, this is awkward. We make the storage chest again. I put in all my items in it again. But this time I have to peruse it and take all the stuff that I don't want, which is unfortunate. And now we take the rest of this. Oh, this is just crap that we need to store. Cool. Dump. And there we go. And now I can get my stuff back. Alright, so we've made ourselves some room, but like I said in the last one, we're gonna be making some progress in this episode. Not that we didn't make progress in the last episode, but things should be going a lot quicker now that we actually have the iron already ready to go to construct items. Oh, and look at all this empty space that we can mold and shape into whatever we want. Okay, well, first things first, we need to just receive the items. It's kind of doing weird, why can't I see these black lines? I don't know, but we need to receive them, so we want to use Mark IV conveyor lifts that are coming out. Make sure the green arrow is like that. And I was thinking, should we just do it so that, you know, left goes left, right goes right? Or should we just move them forward like this? Well, then they'll both come out right next to each other. And then we'll have to go left and right either way, which will force it to turn. But what this allows us to do, I was gonna say this gives us the ability to just like take these lines and run it down like the middle, and then split them off into a bunch of different builds in that direction and that direction. But since the splitters are like really close to each other, you know, they're just clipping into each other, I don't know if that idea is going to work out very well. Yeah, I think what would be better is my original idea of having them face left and right, and then we can take the lines down there, and then it can split off into all the different builds we need to use them in that way, and then end up storing them all in the back over there. Like storing off all our finished products in the back. Alright, so we'll just rebuild those really quick. Just like that. There we go. And before we do that, somebody needs an ass whooping. Okay, ass whooping delivered. First off, we need to determine all the different items that we need to make using iron ingots. Well, just like before, iron ingots are going to be making us our iron plates, our iron rods, our screws, you know, the basics. But now we have the cast screw alternate, which I think I'm going to use. It's a pretty good recipe. And also, we can now introduce to our iron factory the ability to make wire using the iron wire alternate, which is very nice, because then we can use less copper in the world. So that's really cool. Then in our second tier items, we're going to need to make reinforced iron plates, modular frames, because these just use iron components, you know, rods, screws, plates, all those things. As well as rotors, And if you're so inclined, we could go for smart plating as well. And yeah, that's about it. So all in all, it's about like 7 or 8 items. You know, it's pretty much all the stuff that we're making before, but also including now just wire. So we also have to keep in mind that on the left here, or I guess the right, depending on what angle we're looking at it from, on this side we're getting 390 ingots a minute, and on this side we're getting 455. And let's just see here. I think we should start off by working backwards in a sense, and seeing how many tier 1 components we're going to need to make tier 2 components, and then get a certain like number for those, and then the rest can go to just making the tier 1s, and then, you know. Alright, so I've been away for like 10 minutes, and I've been doing some math. As you can see, well, maybe you can't see the math, you can see the results of that, but even, like, I thought there's no way I could make this many of these items and still have this work, right? But technically, without even overclocking, this is all still very achievable, and I'd have like 50 ingots left over. So like, I don't even know what to do anymore, man. I don't even know. Now, the Satisfactory player in me is just screaming like, oh, you've got leftover ingots, make those screws because you know you're gonna need more screws for later. But also, I'm just thinking like, we can't really hold it, and then we'd be doing 2 lines, and one would carry like 200, the other one would have 400. And yeah, we'd begin making 600 screws a minute, but then if we were trying to export it, then like how would we get that all evenly? And then we could do 2 lines of a thing, and then re-add it to another. It would just be like confusing, and I think that if we're gonna do something, you know, if we're gonna go wild to screws, let's just wait until tier 5, you know, tier 5 belts and all that. And I know in saying that, I've already set off flags for a few people, because I know, like, I get comments from people who are like, I don't know, like really good at the game, and they optimize like every step of it, and I don't know how to describe it, like, they are just on a different level. They optimize even the early game, whereas I just, you know, I just continue to handcraft a little bit, and I'm not completely optimal. Just trying to do the rush for coal power while neglecting everything else. And you know, that's just how I've always done things. But I'm definitely seeing like a rising trend where people are coming to the conclusion that I play too passively, I think. And maybe those are just like the min-maxers out there, I don't know. And like, look, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just saying that there's a lot of ways to play this game, and I thought that I was doing things pretty optimally, you know, given our current power situation. And I take things one at a time, and I do my little projects. And I mean, if you're this far into the series, and if you've watched 30 episodes of this, first of all, thank you so much. But like, you know kind of how my flow goes, my rhythm, you know. And basically, I guess what I mean to say is that at no point in any of this am I going to be completely optimal until like the end game, when I can do like my finalized builds. And then we can stop worrying about like, oh, you could do all this to rush to the end faster. Like, yes, okay, thank you. Thank you. And like, obviously I don't play completely optimally or 100% efficiently with my exact counts of things sometimes. Or I can be a little lazy about not fully utilizing every bit of power that I have just because I'm scared of like going over. But eventually we'll reach the end game, and none of this will matter, and then I'll be a lot more free to build exactly as I want, and it won't, yeah, like I said, it won't really, this will all be meaningless. And I say all of this because I have these 50 ingots and I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I'm thinking of just like saving them for like nothing, you know, for like later, just in case. Maybe I'll just pump more into the wire, you know? Because honestly, 50 more ingots for the wire recipe could get us a lot more wire. Yeah, that could end up netting us like 270 wire, which, pretty good. And do keep in mind, I feel like I should also, make cables out of the wire with this, instead of making cables out of copper and then making regular copper wire too. And then, if need be, I mean, we have 2 more nodes of copper over there that we could use to make cables too. So, I mean, at this point, what are we going to use the copper for? Like, copper sheets and what else? Doesn't seem like there's even a lot left to use copper for. I don't know. If there's some build in the future where we need, like, a metric fuckload of wire, then I guess I can just start using it out of copper, but mostly, we're just gonna put all that copper into these sheets, I think. I don't know. And then, like, if we use the pure copper recipe over there, and make even more copper ingots. How many sheets would we even make? I don't know. The iron wire recipe kind of messes with things a little bit. It kind of makes it so that you don't really need to use copper for a whole lot of anything, as you can see. So yeah, I guess we're just going to divert those last 52 wire, and I know somebody in the comments is screaming like, no, you could have used that 50 for another thing to increase a thing that you're going to need later. It's like, you know what? You're probably right, but I don't think that far ahead sometimes. Okay, and so yeah, we're going to be using all but like 4 of our ingots if my math is totally correct, which I think it is. Now we just need to decipher how many of each kind of machine do we need for all of this, so that's gonna be real fun. I'll figure that out and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I have determined one thing. Well, a few things. You might see that there's a few constructors down. I have figured some stuff out. So out of the left side here, we're getting 455 ingots per minute, and we're gonna be using 400 of that, and then rerouting the last 55 out into the other side and back into this. So that's one thing I figured out. The next thing is that it's going to take exactly 400 iron ingots to get all of the plates, rods, and screws that we need, so I thought, well, this entire side is just dedicated to plates, rods, and screws, and that makes things easy. And then everything else will be on this side. So that's another thing I figured out. And also, I determined that in order to make all of the plates, rods, and screws that we need on this side of the factory, we're going to need 30 constructors. So I'm now trying to decipher how we're going to do that, and I'm going to cut away to when I figure it all out, and you'll see. Oh, and if you're looking for the exact like numbers and like the percentages of it all, I'll go over that when we're done, so that if you're trying to build along, you can just copy my recipe numbers and like how much overclock or underclock, stuff like that. So yeah, all the nitty gritty details, they'll be coming in a sec. Alright, so I've done a little building, and I have set up a system, and you will see how it all works. So in theory, it goes like this. We take the 455 iron ingots from the left side, and we bring them down this way, and these constructors are all making our iron plates at 100%. Oh, and real quick, you're gonna find that I didn't actually underclock or overclock any of these. They're all just like the base recipe, so it's not that difficult. We start off with 6 machines, all making iron plates. So that's 180 iron ingots to make 120 iron plates, or a ratio of 3 to 2. And we're using a Mark III to get that across, since that's the minimum belts that we need. And then at the end here, this final splitter is a smart splitter, which has its right output being the iron ingots. So once it's full up on iron ingots, then any leftover ingots will go exit through the overflow. And this is where we're going to get the remaining 55 ingots we need to get out of here. And if you don't understand why, well, like I said earlier, this whole build, it takes up 400 ingots. And we want to get those last 55 ingots out of this side and into the other side. So we just smart split the overflow, which should be 55 of them a minute, using a Mark I belt. And we bring them over here into a merger with this is the 390 belt. So 390 plus 50, that should be 440 now. Or, sorry, plus 55, so it should be 445. So that's like a little closed loop, and that should work whenever we use that. And then next up, we take a Mark IV belt and bring it right down here to this splitter, where we're making our rods. Each one is just the base recipe, 100%. And we're using 8 assemblers here to make 120 rods a minute, which is going to be 120 iron ingots too, since it's a 1-to-1 recipe. And yeah, the ingots are just stored right there. And then on the back side here, the rods are stored here too. And then finally, the rest is still coming down with the Mark IV belt, just so we can get here is fast enough. And then at the end, we're making our screws with the cast screw recipe at 100% speed. And we're making 400 screws a minute, so 50 times 8, that is 400. So we have 8 constructors down here, all just with the base recipe. And that's going to be 100 iron ingots a minute, since we have 12.5 times 8. 12.5 times 2 is 25. Times 2 is 50, times 2 is 100, so, you know, you can math. And, yeah, it's not actually that complicated. It's slightly more complex than our original builds, but it's also bigger, better, faster, stronger? Oh, I forgot harder, dang it. And yeah, here's where we're gonna be storing the screws. Now, this should all work in theory, assuming that the overflow happens exactly as I want it to. But I think it should work. I mean, my experience with the game tells me that it probably will, especially since we're just using an overflow there, and I made sure not to make this a Mark IV belt, so that this one actually will probably get like more of a priority. Oh, you know what? In fact, if you want to guarantee that this will work, I'm gonna just delete all that really quick, that little splitter, and we're gonna make that a smart splitter. Okay, and then we'll have the right output set to iron ingots. Left output is none, and center output will be overflow. Just to guarantee that this side gets the priority, so that this side, which is going to have the leftovers, is like lesser. You get the idea. So Mark IV belt in, Mark IV belt down, Mark III belt in here, and yeah, that should theoretically do it. So these ingots coming out here will only be the overflow of the overflow, which practically guarantees that this will be the nice 445 that we want. And actually, I need to write that down, that this is now 445, so I know for the next episode. And yes, you heard that right, next episode. This is taking like an hour and a half to do, and I, don't want to be here all day. Or at least on this one episode all day. Rerouted to right 55... has been rerouted to the right, and then in parentheses I can make this 445. Because I'm still going to need this, so it's good to have all this information down probably. Okay, and then let's just turn it all on, and yeah. Luckily, I left spaces in between the mergers and splitters so that I could put conveyor poles. Although at the front over here, since these things are in the back, we can't really utilize those in the exact way that I want, but it's fine. So I think since it is constructors, we'll do 1 pole per 2. And we'll grab this dude and where's the, okay, right here. Make a new pole. And then go this way to the second avenue. right in the middle of these, and same thing on this row. You know, planning out your builds with power poles ahead of time is a lot easier than I actually thought it was. You know, when you just make your builds really nice and clean, and, you know, you don't build spaghetti, it's not that hard. Not that hard to think with these in mind. And honestly, I wasn't even considering power poles when I was doing this build. I built it, and somehow it all worked out. But if you just keep to a structure like this, then, yeah, you really can't go wrong. So I just drag it down here to the final row, and we do it with the same process once again. Okay, bird's eye view of the whole thing. It's looking pretty clean. Literally all we need to do now is just, like, hook one of these power poles up to power, then the whole thing comes online. So, let's do that. Question is where we're going to be getting our power from, though? Now, what I've been known to do in the past with my multi-layered factories, I mean like multi-floored factories, is I will do something like this, where we delete the floor there, right? Just momentarily. Then what I'll do is here, can I just land on top of these? Okay, there we go. Nice. Yeah, this is the cheeky part. So we take the wall outlet, we put it upside down, but like in the pole, like on the exact same part of the pole. And then we just connect it to the pole, like that. So now if we get power connected to this little wall outlet, then we'll have power to the whole thing up here. And that's how I easily move power up between floors without making it like a whole ass mess. As you can see, completely covered. You can't even tell there's a thing down there. And this has a connection to the first floor. Now the question is, how are we going to connect the power pole to that? And yeah, like if you get down here, then you can see like the thing, right? But if you make like an elaborate setup of putting these things on the ceiling and the walls, then you can pretty much, I mean like they're so tiny, and you can pretty much keep your wiring like mostly hidden doing the stuff like this. You can even daisy chain these on the ceiling, which is pretty neat, just like you connect regular power poles. Oh, you know what? Actually, I have a good idea. So we're gonna delete this line, make a new pole right there. And I know it's super close to that pole, but trust me, it'll all make sense. We just connect over here, directly above us. And now, theoretically, when I connect this pole to that one, we should have power. It's just like a line going completely straight up. But I'm not going to do that just yet, because I want to see as the whole thing comes online. So we'll actually disconnect the main... I guess, like... Oh, wait a minute. No. This one doesn't have power, right? Okay, so we can connect this. Whoops. We can connect that to the thing directly above it. Let's see, be like completely straight up. Oh god, just hit the thing. Hit the... Oh, it's so finicky. Yep, okay, there we go. Oh wait, it's connected to that now, yeah. Oh Jesus, I missed the moment that it all turned on. We run. We zoom! Yes, it's all... Look at it. Look at it going. Stuff is being made. That was not as ceremonious as I wanted it to be. I forgot that had connection already. Anyways, we just cover this up. Like that. And there we go. Power has been brought to the second floor and our build is running. It's gonna take a minute though for it to all like be fully functional. We just gotta like back up on a bit of machines here, since you do have this one set to overflow. And I did that as the precaution so that this would work properly. So yeah, we're just gonna let it run for a little bit. But in theory, it should all work out. However, we won't really know how well it's working until we get the other side done too, and all those other objects. Probably we'll get those done in the next episode now that we already figured out all this. I think just starting this project was the hard part, but actually finishing it out, this is going a lot faster. And you know what? Actually, these won't fill up if we let them keep storing. So for now, I'm just gonna disable the connections there. And I'll let these machines fill up so that those can get working and then everything can be ready to go. It's not something for you to concern yourself with, you pretty little viewer. All that you need to know is that we're now making 400 screws, 120 rods, and 120 plates per minute, which is definitely an uptick. an increase. And yeah, I'm gonna let this run for some amount of time and let all the machines back up at least, and then store some stuff, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Okay, hold on. One more thing before we go. I just had to do this before we stop the episode, because otherwise it wouldn't feel right. I'm going to move the items from each of these containers. Oh, shit. I gotta build that personal one first again. Store all, and then control click these in. Thank you. Pick up those. Yeah, I'm just gonna move the screws, rods, and plates, and then we can call it an episode. And boop. Okay. Honestly, now that I've done this, I am dreading redoing it, for the endgame builds however many episodes are off from that, because I don't know if I can one-up this. I really like what I've done here, and I think it's a neat little compact design that's finally taken into account power poles and wiring, and it looks pretty good. So now when I try to one-up this, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It'll be bigger, probably, right? That's for sure. But that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. That's another thing you don't gotta worry. Don't worry about it. I got this. And yeah, I'm just going to AFK while doing something else and letting this game make me lots of stuff. So yeah, I have been Rara. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Satisfactory. In the next one, we're going to finish out the remaining iron components that we have yet to build, and it'll be a fun one, I'm sure, and it won't be pain at all. Haha. Alright, see you everyone. Bye.